don't care if it's raining. We want to get it done anyway. So we're still out here in the pouring rain for you guys. So hopefully you enjoy it.
With me being a newer wheeler, I know that there are a lot of things and tips and tricks that would have really helped me from the very beginning. So we just wanted to take that opportunity to kind of share the knowledge and give it to you. It's really starting to rain. Woo! So not very long ago, the old Debicon and I, we were brand new. I still consider myself a newbie. So always learning. That's probably one of the best tips that I could give anyone starting wheeling is be teachable and to listen to your spotters. But if you're ever feeling uncomfortable, if you look at an obstacle and just say, that is not for me, there are bypasses. So on this obstacle, there is a bypass to where you can get up to where the rest of the group is. But yeah, don't feel worried about that. So many of the jeeping groups that I've been with, I've taken the bypass. They're totally fine with it. Another thing, go at your own pace. There are so many wheeling groups and everything that come out here all the time, and they are just bombing through the dunes and going through all the obstacles super, super fast. I'm the kind of person that likes to go slow, and I don't want to ruin my Jeep, because it's not as built as some other ones. Mine is less built. So go at your own pace. Don't push yourself and your vehicle to the breaking point. It's always good to stretch yourself and to challenge yourself, but not to the point where you are risking damage to your vehicle or harming yourself. As a new wheeler, and I'm trying to learn the lines, I know that this is kind of cheating, but a lot of times I'm looking at the trail to see where other people have actually driven. It's kind of a cheat code to find which line to take. But on this one, it seems like you could probably take, you know, like a line over here, a line over here.
All right, so I just pulled up the harder line on this obstacle. Deb's gonna pull up the easier line here on the right. Just kind of show you have options with most of the obstacles here in Sand Hollow if you're not feeling comfortable with the harder stuff. So she's just gonna come up this simple line. I would definitely put my lockers on for this. You don't have to, but it'd make you feel a little more comfortable and be less likely to spin some tires.
Getting into 4 low would have been good too, right? Comment down below if you've already done this trail before, or if any of these tips help. Or, you know what? I'm always open for suggestions as well. What tips do you have for me? I would love to hear it.
All right, so here's the issue we got into. So our lines kind of work themselves loose. You can see our lines going up backwards now because I adjusted it. So they've kind of worked themselves forward, and they got into our drag link here and actually just knocked this fitting loose. So all we had to do to fix the problem is just tighten this fitting, move the lines back so they won't get back into it again. And now we're going through and actually bleeding the system. So it's always good to have fluids on board your rig. And this is a simple repair, so even if you're not a mechanic, this will take you out on the trail, and it's a super simple thing to resolve. I run a suck down winch on my Jeep. So I have a Jeep TJ. Total wheelbase is 108 inches. So that's actually quite a bit longer than the normal TJ would be. But out here you have some really long, really steep climbs. And with my coil springs up front, it tends to unload on those steep climbs and make them very unstable. So I use a suck down winch. So basically just pulling up on my axle to compress the suspension. So when I come up on something really steep, I'll just suck this in. You'll see my suspension compress down. And then that gives me a bunch of stability and my suspension can't unload. It helps a ton on really steep climbs.
So this one's a really fun one. Now, obviously, if you're brand new to it, I don't know if I would recommend going up this. You have to have a little bit more of a built rig. There's a couple different ways that you can take it. You can kind of go up this line straight ahead right here. You just have to make sure to carry the momentum, and then of course make sure to watch that rock that's up on top. You can come around this way as well and kind of scoot around that way. And then up on top, you have a second obstacle. Now, if this is something that may be a little bit out of your league right now, there's 2 options for bypasses right here, and I've taken both of them before. Trust me, I haven't wanted to do that one in the past. This one's pretty simple. I think my incline was like 15 degrees or something like that. A lot of times he likes to crawl first. just to see if he can do it. And knowing him, he gets really, really light on the front end. So he tends to like to do the suck down winch. This is one where he might have to just give it a good bump. With mine, I'm able to crawl it a little bit more as long as I carry the momentum. But with him, he's just gonna have to suck down. Just remember that there's a rock up on top. So once you get up on top, just remember you're gonna have to turn passenger. Rock right there.
All right, so for this obstacle, I had to use my suck down winch just to keep the front end from getting a little light. Just because I can't get my front wheels up over the breakover before it gets really steep. So on this, we're just gonna show a little bit of a difference what you four-door folks have that the two-door folks don't. So we might have better breakover, but you guys have the wheelbase to where on a lot of these obstacles, you can get all the way to the top of a breakover before you start climbing, which makes it a lot more steep. Like that. All right, so one of the problems Deb might have here is there's a heavy breakover at the top of this, so she's probably gonna hit her skids. So if she starts hitting skids, we may have to move her over a little bit to the driver's side of this obstacle. So you can hear that skid plate, which still made it. What you want to do when you're spotting is really spot the rear wheels, not the front. So everybody looks at the front wheels and they try and put them into position, but they don't look at where the rear wheel's gonna land. That's how you end up falling off walls and getting stuck in cracks. And you don't want to completely destroy your nice new Jeep's paint job. Okay, so we're gonna be doing an optional on the way to John's Trail. So this is technically a part of Sliplock Gulch, but this is an optional obstacle called Horseshoe Falls, and it's pretty difficult. So why it's difficult is the way these stair steps lie. So they're just far enough apart to where your tires are trying to climb two faces of a wall at the same time. So when that happens, it gets really hard to get up. So through here, I'm gonna have to use a little bit of momentum, and then I'm gonna shoot off to the right and try and skirt around. I've done this line before on this left side, and you end up hitting two faces again at the same time, making it really hard. So my line's gonna be, I'm gonna use some momentum, go up to the right, and then turn off to the left.
So I think he's gonna try crawling it first, just to see how it feels. Looks like it worked out pretty well for him. How did that feel?
That was not bad at all. I definitely like that line better than this line.
Yep.
This line puts you in a really funky position when you're trying to climb, so that's definitely the move.
Good job.
Now I gotta walk down without falling on my ass.
I feel like just walking the trails is an extreme sport.
It is. It's like parkour, but better. So if you guys are running JLs or JKs, it's best to put your automatic into manual mode so you have a lot more control. If you're newer to the sport, this angle is gonna feel uncomfortable, but you can see the Jeep is completely planted. There's no risk of it rolling over. It's not just gonna fall on its side kicking it.
We didn't get lost, did we?
No, I am luckily using Onyx, so we don't get lost. All right, so real quick, if you're gonna be in Sand Hollow, especially if this is your first time, you need something like Onyx. Onyx is gonna get you around out here because all of the trails crisscross And you can easily go from a level 7 trail and turn that trail into a level 9 or 10 trail because you went the wrong way. So using onX, it gives you a lot of features where you can actually see the map itself, exactly where the trail is. And it also gives you some step-by-step features of what to look for on that trail. So in here you can see John's trail is a guided trail, which means it has all this extra information to give you a heads up of what you're getting into. So a long description of what the trail is, some pictures to make sure you're on the right track, a good description of difficulty and what vehicle you need to be at, and then a kind of a nice depiction of are you going up or are you going down on that trail. Wouldn't call it, you know, a huge obstacle, but it's definitely can be intimidating if you're just starting out. So the easiest way to know where to drive on a trail, because you're not going to have spotters all the time, is follow the black marks. So you can see that there's clear black marks on the rocks here that give you an indication of what the line is. So you always want to be following the black marks because most likely that's the right line. And then really think through, like, you want to be squared up on this next obstacle. So to do that, you have to think one step ahead. So you're going to see Deb here making her turn. So her back tire is going over that area where the black lines were. Now she's going to get relatively squared up onto this rock face. So it's nice and easy to climb. All right, I'll tell you, the first time you come up on a rock face like this isn't very big. However, if you haven't done anything like this, that'll be very intimidating. Just have faith in your vehicle. If you have, especially if you have like a Jeep Rubicon or one of the new Broncos, this is not difficult for your vehicle. Your vehicle will walk right up, it won't even trip a tire.
You know, some of the obstacles may seem pretty simple, but you know what? It's always a good idea to buckle up.
Yeah, I've definitely been upside down in places I didn't expect to be upside down in. So even if you think it's something easy, you don't know what can happen. Just wear your belt, please. It's the safe thing to do. It's really not that uncomfortable. Just wear your belt, wear your harness, whatever you have. So obstacles like that, guys, one of the things to be aware of, even if you're going to crawl it, you're not going to bump it, you want to keep your wheels spinning. Don't let them stop. Just keep them spinning real slow so you don't lose traction.
So this looks like it's a little bit more of a spicy line. So looks like there's a lot of different lines that you can choose from. You can obviously kind of go off to the side if you don't feel comfortable doing it, so you can bypass it. Do something a little bit easier all the way up to a little bit harder. So with Wes's short wheelbase, finds that he has to bump it quite a bit. A lot of times he has to use his suck down winch so that he can get that front end out. He tends to kind of pop up a little bit, kind of bounce on the front end. So that's why he uses the suck down winch.
He's gonna be taking the spicy line here. Yeah, this is almost vertical. It's a pretty big wall. I'm gonna take just a little bit of a bump here to get her up. Frame chop bumper for the win. Go. Keep that momentum for the easy line.
Let's see what's up here. It's getting a little windy. I apologize for that. Some downhill stuff. And in some areas, yeah, it's going to feel pretty off camber in some places. He's just going to want to make sure to take it nice and slow all the way down.
Alright guys, everything you ever learned about driving goes out the window when you're off-road. So you always want to be using 2 feet to drive your Jeep out here. So that way you can always have your gas and your brake under control. So if you start getting into a bad situation, you don't have to find your gas stuff, you're already on it. We're gonna try and keep Deb's driver rear up on this wall over to the right. So on this side, we're gonna try and keep her on these platforms.
So I didn't have Wes ride the wall nearly as much as he had me to. I mean, he's got the clearance and he's got the wide enough tires to where if he fell into that his body wouldn't have slammed into that. But if you have a smaller rig, falling into that kind of roll, it can definitely tilt the wall and give you some body damage. So Wes was absolutely right. I was wrong. So anyways, yes, learning a lesson. On this one, there's a lot of different lines to go to. So you can see that there's some tire marks over here. There's some that come down here. I think Wes wanted to come down this way. So let's have him come over passenger. Now he can do that because he has the articulation. I'm just worried that I'm gonna maybe catch right there just because of my clearance issue.
All right, so on this one, I'm gonna bring Deb down these 2 spires. So there's one kind of on this side here. Let me see if I can get my finger right here. We're gonna try and take her down those because she doesn't have a ton of belly clearance. And I don't want her to bottom out too badly, but she's probably going to anyways. Perfectly done, great job.
So Wes is going to be going up this one. So you got a little bit of a V-notch here. This could be a diff catcher right here. And it looks like it kind of comes up and around.
So it's currently raining, which makes this a little more interesting.
So guys, if you're gonna be wheeling in the rain, maybe get a sun top. We actually ordered one and it didn't come in time. So yeah, next time when we go out and it's raining, we won't have the same problem because I have one on the way. Well guys, it is absolutely pouring out here. I think we're gonna call it a day. I hope you guys enjoyed our tips and tricks, and for you newbie wheelers like myself, I hope that you found this useful. If you did, please like and subscribe. Comment down below if you've already done this trail before or if any of these tips help. Or, you know what? I'm always open for suggestions as well. What tips do you have for me? I would love to hear it.
Deb's relatively new to wheeling. This is all stuff that she's learned and found valuable. So we want to take the time to share that with you guys and try and get more people out on the trail and more comfortable with doing a little more difficult obstacles. So we're having to call it a day. We're getting poured on out here in the rain, but we hope this helps you out.
Something that someone told me a long time ago was take what works for you and leave the rest. But you know what? Just stay teachable.